What's up, everybody? Thank you for checking out this episode of Chewing the Rag. Before we get started, just a couple of cool, quick announcements. First and foremost, at ChewinTheRag.com, same place where you find all of our platform links, social media, email for contact, and the gaming channel. There's now a section for merch. So if you click the merch link, it'll bring you to our web store where we have hoodies, t-shirts, water bottles, mugs, stickers, magnets, literally anything you could think of, we probably have it there. So be sure to go to ChewinTheRag.com to pick up a piece of merch and make sure to like, rate, share, and subscribe on any of those platform links that you listen to us. It helps myself out, and more than that, it helps these guys out that I bring in that I think have cool things to promote. The more eyes on me, the more eyes on them, and it kind of helps the whole community, which is what this is really all about. Second, Dubby Energy, good clean energy. Drink it every morning. I wear their merch. I have their hat on right now as we speak. I'm using their mouse pad. I highly support Dubby. It's kind of helped me get away from coffee a little bit. I drink my Dubby between like 6:30, 7 a.m. and I'm good until late afternoon, whereas I was drinking multiple cups of coffee a day. So Dubby.gg and use promo code CHEWIN at checkout to get yourself some good, clean energy. Again, that's Dubby.gg, promo code CHEWIN, no G, CHEWIN, CHEWIN at checkout. And one last thing, I am doing one more comedy show. I said I wouldn't, but I'm doing one more. Cairo, New York. It is September 24th, and it will be at the Old Factory Brewing Co. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all proceeds go to benefit hospice. So one more show. This is it. Not doing another one. Old Factory Brewing Co. in Cairo, New York, and that's a few months from now, September 24th. Thank you guys, and be sure to go into the description of this video while we are rather talking about charity. Donate money to help the kids in all my videos, or Spotify, all the descriptions wherever you're listening. There's a GoFundMe link. Donate some money, help the kids. They also have an event early September, and I believe if you click the GoFundMe, it goes into that a little bit more. So come support those guys, support myself later that month to benefit hospice, and thank you guys again for checking out this episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Chewing the Rag. I should probably start saying my name in the beginning of these just for people who are like, how many times I've talked to people from like Instagram or whatever who listen to me, and they don't realize, like, unless you read my bio where it says hosted by Chris Pickett, whatever, they're like, who the fuck, what is your actual name? My name is Christopher. It is Chris. It's Topher. It is Christoph. It is whatever. But it is Chris. And I should really get better at introducing myself, but I probably won't. I do it in the description. I always say, like, on this episode of the podcast, Chris talks, blah. But not everybody reads. You definitely should, because the description of these videos has links where you can get like merch right here. It's a Chewing the Rag sweatshirt. Looks like a pillow. We do have throw pillow covers as well, which is pretty funny. But go to ChewinTheRag.com and get all that. But like, just read the description. Then you can learn my name. You can learn a summary of what we're talking about. You can get some links and whatnot. So definitely start doing that. But my name is Chris. And today we are going to be talking about today we are going to be answering questions from people, which is fun. I actually really like doing this. I should probably promote it more often. If you go to open up your email and you ChewinTheRagPod@gmail.com, you can send me questions. You can do it right on social media. ChewinTheRag.com has all the social media on there. But yeah, today I'm going to be answering questions that were sent in. I always tell people, like, you can ask me literally anything, because if you have listened to this, I ramble a lot, I pause a lot, I stutter, I stammer. So I'll ramble about just about anything. I'll answer just about anything. So send me whatever. And that's mostly what today's going to be about, is just answering those, rambling about a few topics and calling it an episode. So let's see. I'm not going to say who they're from, because I don't know if these people, there's only one I'll list who it's from. but I don't know if these people want their questions specified or their identity specified or what. So we're just gonna do the safe thing and just ask the question as is. I need to trim my mustache. That's driving me insane. That's literally just did it. It's the only part of my facial hair that fucking grows at like a rapid rate. That's all I'm looking at. And if I'm looking at it, I know somebody else is, and it's pissing me off. Here we go. Question number 1, your experiences with podcasting thus far and some advice. My experience has been pretty good. I'm super new to it. If you count Dangerously Average Dudes, I've hit over a year of doing podcasts and whatnot. So that was pretty cool to see. But I'm super new. My biggest advice is probably be consistent. That's the one thing I've learned between Dangerously Average Dudes to this. Every week, I might not be putting out fucking A+ content every week, and that's fine. I'm only fucking human. Thursday at 6 a.m., there's going to be an episode up. You get in your car at 6:30, you got work, you can turn this on, and there will be an episode every Thursday at 6 a.m. uploaded to wherever you get your podcast. So I think that's huge. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say it's amazing. I'm not going to say every episode's great, but at least I'm consistent and I put it out there and I at least try to make it great. I can kind of gauge when an episode's bombing or tanking or it's like not great. I've deleted episodes. I've done full new episodes, and there's just some I've posted that even I'm like, I don't think that's going to be received the greatest. And sometimes I'm wrong, but my thing is definitely be consistent. Maybe have some topics listed, written out and whatnot, because sometimes I might get a little too rambly. It's probably good to have some topics listed and then ramble so I know what I'm rambling about, because I'll just jump from topic A and then I'll get to W and then jump back to C and then I'm like, let's touch back on A now. And it's like, what are you doing? So I would definitely say be consistent, have almost like a little roadmap as far as what you want to talk about. This works for me. I have more fun being off the top. I have more fun being put on the spot. That's why I'm still waiting on questions to come through that I'm hoping, or possibly come through rather, that I'm hoping do, because I like that being, if I can get a question to come in live while I'm recording rather, I like that a lot. So this works for me. It might not work for everybody. I don't know if this is advice because it's something you want to do. Figure out like a niche you might have as well. If you think that something like this doesn't fit you, just conversation, bullshitting and whatnot, there's millions of podcasts that are like based on topics. So find a niche, find a hobby, find something that you enjoy, and you can talk about that. But my advice is definitely stick with it and embrace the suck. It's the same advice I give people for if they just start working out, if they just start comedy, if they just start anything. Embrace the suck, because not every episode is going to be a banger. You could have some very boring episodes. You could have just episodes that seem like they're tanking, stuff like that. So embrace that suck, have fun with it, be consistent, and that's all I got. Besides like the generic advice, which I guess have fun with it is the most generic advice you could give. What else we got? How do you incorporate streaming into your brand? That one's interesting because I really don't do a great job with keeping up on my streams and whatnot. You can check Pinchworm Gaming on YouTube, daddy_pinchworm, stuff like that. But I'm starting to pick back up on it. I'm posting game clips and stuff on the YouTube and whatnot. But I don't think I do a good job, actually. And this is something I should probably improve on. While gaming, while streaming, let people know, like, hey, if you're enjoying the stream, I also have a podcast. You know what I mean? So this is less of a question and more of something that I should reflect on, because maybe it would help. And I'm sure a lot of the people that are on my stream are podcast listeners, because I have about half as many subs on the gaming channel as I do on the podcast. And I wouldn't be surprised if those guys are coming over from the pod, because what I'll do is when I'm streaming, this is the closest thing I get to incorporating it. What I'll do when I'm streaming is I'll post an Instagram story on the podcast page saying, hey, I'm live now, come chat, whatever it might be. So that's kind of, I guess, incorporating it, but I think I should do a little bit better crossing those two paths. You know what I mean? So that was an interesting question because I had to think about how do I, and the answer is not enough. So I think I should definitely do that. What do we got here? This one's fun. How you've networked and met people through podcasting. So I've always been like big on social media, and it's probably because I've always been interested in like doing things that kind of require you to be. I've talked about it on here at nauseum. I'm not going to sit here and list all the hobbies and things I've been through, but they're things that require you to put yourself out there, promote, sell yourself. And so I've always already had that to me, which probably annoys a lot of people, but it helps me out. I think the most fun I've had though is just meeting, like I'll go on Reddit, for example, and I'll go on like subreddit that I enjoy, whether it's like skateboarding. I have one for like Albany's Reddit to, just see what locals are up to because that's what this was supposed to be all about, but it fucking went all over the place pretty quick, which was fun. And, I'll message guys or I'll go to like a pod swap and I'll look at like people's interest. And if it's a guest that has a similar, or a person rather, a podcast or whoever it might be, that has a similar interest to me, I'll just shoot them a DM. I'll say, hey, look, if you want to come on, blah. So I've had a couple people on here from doing stuff like that. So that's pretty fun to me. Social media in general, for sure. Meeting people through podcasting. The biggest example of that is probably Dave Totai, who I've had on. He's doing the charity and whatnot for, fingerboarding. If you check out his episode, it'll go more in depth on that. And you've checked the description of this video, of this, wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening. If you check the description, there's a GoFundMe that's from my conversation with Dave. So with him, I then went and I talked to one of his sponsors for fingerboarding, who makes fingerboards, sponsors these guys, gets them their own deck, everything like that. So with that, and that community in general has been super supportive. So there's that where I've had conversations with people, and then there's people like Upsoki, who I've had his episode. He has a full Discord, and on his live stream when he's streaming, he'll mention, "Hey guys, if you haven't yet checked out Chewing the Rag, it's a lot of fun," and blah, blah, and like he'll do a little promo thing for me as well. And then I get some of his viewers, his watchers, whatever you want to call them. They'll come over from his stream and subscribe and whatnot. And I'm probably going to talk to people from that because those guys stream as well within his community. So yeah, networking through the pod has been a lot of fun. Just meeting different people, talking to different people. Like I said before, I shipped stickers to Australia. It was weird. I don't really even know how that person found the podcast or whatnot, but they follow me on social media. I don't know. Different stuff like that's really cool. I probably have to do better with the actual networking part of it because I can probably get way more guests if I just keep reaching out. But you almost feel like you're annoying people too, especially if it's somebody that you're supposed to have on. And then you're like, let me follow up. And they're like, I can't. And like, that's not one of those, I can't. And then you're going to keep saying it because they don't want to. The reasons are legitimate. But it's like, how many times can you do that before you're like, okay, I'm just annoying this person? When they can, I'm sure they'll let me know they can. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely have to be better with putting myself out there. I have to use the social medias a little bit more. So the Facebook page really is stagnant because I only go on there once a week and I post like the teaser clip and then I'll share the episode when that comes out. So I should probably be better with having a presence. TikTok's about to ban me, so it doesn't really matter. I got a content violation warning there was a baseball fight, just two guys scrapping on second base. It was like a 10-second video, and I just put like Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier underneath. Like, oh, it's all over, blah, 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 and them celebrating. And I didn't think it was a big deal, and it got taken down. So I reposted it, but I made it for like 18 plus, thinking that would work. And that got taken down, and then I got a content violation saying like, you keep doing this, we'll ban you, blah. So it's like, geez. And like, I didn't even think that was that bad. It said I was promoting violence, but it's like, that was a national televised event. It was just two professional baseball players, and 2 punches got thrown, one guy got dropped, and they called it a day. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but it is what it is. I'm doing a decent job growing that. The goal is to be able to live stream on TikTok. I want to do the NPC thing. I want to thank people for roses or whatever the fuck. Most annoying, worst trend ever, and I can't wait for that to fucking phase out. But I do want to go live over there. Just, I can play games on it. I can just chat shit, do whatever. So if you are on TikTok and you're not following, just, go to the ChewinTheRag.com and follow that link. So help me grow that. But long story short, which it never is with me, I think the biggest thing is definitely I just got to get more active, continue networking the way I have. But I'm enjoying the process of finding these guests and using everything from Facebook to Instagram to Reddit to find these guests. Reddit was something that came to me randomly. I was like, let me just try it out. And there was they literally have like pod swap subreddits that I haven't messaged anybody from yet, but it's a good way to at least get my foot in the door out there. One person that I'm interested in getting on here, and I'm hoping I can, is DJ Kaz, Chris Catazone. His father, Rick Catazone, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that name, worked on Creepshow, I believe Evil Dead 2, a couple horror movies, and Creepshow's like, I have it. It's one of my favorite movies. So Chris, his son, is a DJ. He DJs for Doc Ice, which is from Houdini, if you're familiar with them. He's an A&R for Midtown, I believe. So he's somebody that I definitely want to talk to, and we follow each other on social media. We're going back and forth. I'm not going to say we are going to have a pod or anything. I'm not sure. But that's definitely one of the people through networking and whatnot that I'd love to get on here. So, yeah, it should be fun. And I appreciate all the networking. And the big thing that I appreciate is how many people still follow me and talk, interact with me on social media, because it can be annoying to see this fucking person post about their pod and their guests and everything all the time, which, like I said, on Facebook, I have to get better with doing, but I'm pretty active on Twitter and Instagram are the two big ones. YouTube Shorts is a weird one. Anything with reels, shorts, stuff like that is really weird, because I've had shorts get like 5K views, and like, it's not a lot, but that's decent. And it doesn't really translate to listener numbers and whatnot. Not that I've noticed, at least. Maybe it will eventually as I keep that presence going, but it definitely hasn't yet. So we'll see. Let me see. What is this one here? Oh, this one is the one I said would be somebody by name. So this comes from my son's godfather. And his question is, what is it like having a kid with expensive taste? Which is hilarious. What he's referring to is like, kids have their action figures and whatnot that they all enjoy. My son's big thing is he loves model trains, which is hilarious to me. And if you know anything about model trains, not just like toys, these are fucking model trains. They are anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars. Now, he doesn't get these before anybody comes and tries to rob my shit. He does not get these hundreds to thousands of dollar trains, but they are definitely his interest. His birthday is coming up, and anytime anybody asks him what he wants for his birthday, his answer is model trains. And it's like, dude, ask for a fucking excavator toy or something. What are we doing here? Ask for a bulldozer. Ask for a garbage truck. Ask for a fucking, I don't know, Spider-Man toy. I was going to say G.I. Joe, like it was a fucking 80s. But no, he jumps right to model trains. And Zach thinks it's the funniest shit in the world. And it definitely is. And I'm glad he has a hobby like that, because I might have talked about this before, but like the thing with trains that I think is cool for kids is it like encourages building and problem solving. He has to use his control to switch the tracks, and he's got to put the tracks together and see how it goes. His big thing is like being the engineer. Like that's what he calls himself. So I do think they are pretty cool, and I think they're pretty important. But yeah, I don't know. I can't complain that he has expensive taste, because I have expensive taste. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't buy everything that I want, but my taste is for sure costly. I'm into things like, I would love to get a whole new podcast setup. You think that's going to be fucking cheap? Absolutely not. The PlayStation, the fucking TV, the shit that I buy for myself isn't cheap. So I don't really mind that he has expensive tastes because I don't fucking just throw money at him. But also, I would be a hypocrite to be like, yeah, I hate that he has expensive taste because I'm not like materialistic, but if I see something and I want something, I'll probably get it for myself and call it a day. So it's funny to see a little mini me in a different sense with his expensive taste. I don't mind it at all. I have zero complaints. Oh, see what I mean? Here's a question rolling in. He wants to talk the aliens, dude. You want me to talk about the aliens? I'll talk about the fucking aliens. All right. Before I do this, it sounded like I was being super negative toward these aliens. I wasn't. I was being negative. This is all from last episode. If you haven't heard it, go back to it. I pretty much went on a ramble about like I still have to pay my bills, so fuck these aliens. This was more toward the person that I was talking about. Less about the aliens, more about the person who posted this. And also about the people who make everything bigger than what it is. The cover up people. I hate that. It's so annoying, dude, because I don't want to harp on it again. I did it all last episode. I am actually interested in aliens and whatnot. So it's like, I do think it's cool that there's the idea that we actually have aliens and pieces of like UFOs and shit like that. But at the same time, I already believed it. So all it's doing is confirming for me. If I was like a non-believer and I found that out, I'd probably be way more excited because I just don't think it's logically possible that we're the only sort of life forms to exist when there's this fucking ever-expanding fucking solar system out there is insane. YouTube just got a quick little flex. It wasn't a real flex. I haven't flexes. My arms are bigger than that. I'm not insecure. But the idea of like, knowing, I guess, is pretty cool. Confirming. Because I always already thought it. That's my whole thing with why I'm not as interested as I probably could be or should be. It would be like finding out from a religious aspect. I'm not a religious guy. So if we had like definitive proof of like an afterlife and somebody came out and said like I'm from that and I'm from the future and here's blah blah blah, or I died and I'm back now, whatever. Somehow some fantasy fucking world that was confirmed, that would be like, oh shit, to me, more than aliens being real. I would like to know who in this area is an alien, because there's definitely somebody. And where I fucking live, dude, everybody thinks they're fucking country. We're 20 minutes from a Walmart, not even 15, 10. You're 20 minutes from Albany. It's a fucking city. You're not country. Just stop. So I know for sure one of these guys with their lifted fucking trucks and their wide set bullshit, one of those fucking guys is an alien for sure. Guarantee it. They fucking, you know, and they weren't supposed to land here. That's the issue. They got their fucking don't tread on me on one side and their Confederate flag on the other side, and they're fucking driving these loud trucks, and they're like, I'm just like you, and I'm just like, I'm in a Kia, sir. I'm not like you at all. People tread on me a lot, and that's okay. That's you and I are not the same. The fucking one of their eyes is just rolling down their face, like, yeah, I'm just like you. I promise I'm from here. You know what I mean? One of those guys is for sure a fucking alien. Me and that guy are not. We don't belong in the same neighborhood. It doesn't make sense that he lives down the fucking around the corner from me. So that dude's an alien, and that's what I want to know. That's my big thing with aliens is who are they? What people like? If you are one at this point, apparently the fucking government's got your brother locked up. He's got non-human biotics in his fucking chamber. You can now come out and be like, all right, we're gonna look at aliens the way we looked at homosexuality. You can come out now. Come on out. We're fine. That's probably not going to hit because not everybody feels like they can be comfortable coming out. You know, maybe they still have parents that are like that guy driving that fucking truck. So maybe they're a little antiquated. You can come out to me at least. I'm cool with you. That's what we're doing here. Another question that was asked to me off this thread here that I got going on. I know for sure one of my buddies was confused. So in person, I have a lot of like, I do a lot of bullshit voices. I sometimes will do them here. I might hit you with an oi might or something like that. But my whole like outside of here, I'm always doing an accent. I'm always ball busting. I have like videos of bullshit like Dog Bark Derek was like a fucking white rapper with his hood up and sunglasses and a toothpick. I got Rootin' Tootin' Rick who's a super fucking down south. Just made like as far south in the fucking swamps. Just out of this world outrageous. I did like this super fucking gabagool Italian guy. I've always just had bullshit characters and voices that I made. And my buddy's like, why don't you like ever incorporate that into what you do? You sit there for an hour and you ramble, just do bits. And it's like, bits by yourself is fucking boring. What do you want me to do? You want me to start rapping? Give me a topic. If you want a bit, send in a topic. I'm not just going to sit here and fucking entertain you. Literally the point of a podcast, by the way, is to probably sit there and entertain somebody, but not like that. That's something that when I'm with a group and I'm bullshitting, I'm fucking around, like I have fun doing that. This is like, I'm not just going to sit here as Dog Bark Derek, the fucking white rapper, and just start rapping for you guys unless you want it. And feel free to comment below if you want raps, because I'll fucking do it and I'll negate this whole conversation. I can rap, dude. I don't look like it. Maybe I look like it. I don't know. But I can rap. I'm pretty good. I got a little improv to me too, so. But I'll never be, maybe with a guest, if I'm riffing with somebody and I'm like, I'll just see if they're rolling with it. If they're rolling with it, then we can just get into bits and we could fire off. I can do bits with somebody, but I'm not one of those podcasters, I guess. I do air quotes for that because I don't even like calling myself a fucking podcaster. I'm Soki with a question, as I just fucking said a little while ago that I wouldn't say anybody's name, but here it is. If you could have any guest on the podcast, who would it be and why? Living or dead? Living or past is what he said, which is much more polite than dead. Who would it be and why? Dude, if I could have, like, I won't even try to make them too famous, you know, because there's famous people alive right now that I want to talk to. Doesn't mean I'm going to fucking be able to. That's going to be tough. I had somebody in mind just now and I lost it, so I got that going for me. Greg Giraldo, for obvious reasons. He was super famous as, like, in the comedy community, but overall, I don't think he's a household name to just, like, your mom and dad if they don't know who comedians are. He would be fun. I once tweeted, and this was like right after my grandmother died, probably a couple months after. I once tweeted and said if I had a choice to bring my grandmother, Greg Giraldo, back from the dead, I'd pick Greg Giraldo. So Greggy Boy would be fun. I would love to talk to Mark Norman. Who else? Some sort of athlete. Like Micah Parsons would be fun because he's really outspoken and just a goofy young fucking great linebacker. I love that I said I wouldn't do anybody too famous and have only listed off famous people. I don't know, just like regular 9-to-5 people, if they have an interesting job, that'd be fun. Like those like oil driller people, just hearing their perspective, or offshore fishermen, like those fucking not Deadliest Catch. Is it Deadliest Catch? Deadliest Catch without the crabs. Maybe it is them. Those like crabs and lobster fishing people. Those would be interesting. If I could get, you know what? Nah, that wouldn't work. My grandmother, maybe. She's dead. But I would have her on here to confirm or deny any of my childhood stories that she could remember. And then she also, people say I swear too much, and I would have her next to me, and she could prove to you that I actually don't swear enough. She was horrible. She would like, I remember one day, my cousin was probably 8 at the time, 7 or 8. We were at my grandmother's house, and I called him a little bastard for some reason. And she goes, "Hey, don't call him that. Watch your mouth. You can't say that to him." And not even 30 seconds after she stopped me from saying that, he opened up her fridge and hung on to the top of it and just like wrapped his legs around it and swung it back and forth for a second. And she said, "Hey, you little fucking asshole, get the fuck off my fucking fridge. What the fuck's the matter with you?" Just like that. Not even 30 seconds after I called the kid a bastard and got yelled at, she said that. So having a conversation with her and explaining to her why she is the most obnoxiously swearing or questioning, where did this come from? Why are you? She was like the nicest woman alive, but she had the toughest, most fucking like, get the fuck away from me demeanor of anybody as she slipped $50 into your pocket. One of those types of grandmothers. So like just having her on here and trying to get an hour out of her, where first of all, the conversation even leading up to trying to get her on here would be insane. Why the fuck would I do that, Chris? What the fuck's the matter with you? What are you, a fucking retard? She would never call me a tard. It was always tart, which is maybe it was like her way of not. It wasn't. It wasn't. She didn't give a fuck about any of that. She wasn't PC at all, but she would be an interesting conversation. If I could like get my son to sit still for 20 minutes and just have him ramble about trains and people could listen to that fucking for 20 minutes. I don't really have like dream guests. That was Oliver. He just shook. And last week my dog died. This one's just fucking. Come here, Ollie. Here's our guest. What's up? Oh, little Ollie. Come here, little Ollie. Come up. Oh, little Ollie. But yeah, it's definitely famous comedians. Rick Glassman. Just because you want to talk bits. If I had somebody like him on here, that's somebody you could do bits with all day. Definitely mostly comedians, couple football players. I don't really have one pin down. That was actually really tough. Of any question somebody could have asked me, because that's one that, and like I said, some of these are trickling in as I'm doing this. That was one that if it was asked earlier in the day, I probably would have had something a little bit better. But I don't really have one off the top of my head. It's athletes, comedians, tattoo artists. My tattoo artist would be great if I could get Dan on here and just talk about his start and his growth as a tattooer, and now he owns his own shop. Seeing how he does with how did he take that transition as like just an artist to a shop owner and that responsibility. And I know Holly does a lot of the shit there. She kills it, but you know, he still has that I'm the owner of this place responsibility, or co-owner. I don't know how they really handle it, but it's, you know, his shop. So it'd be interesting to hear that, but I don't have like one dream guest. So I would say the best way to put it is genre of guests. I'd have comics, athletes, fighters for sure, which are athletes, but I mentioned football players specifically, fighters for sure, people who work tough jobs, like, what was that fucking show? Dirty Jobs. If I could talk to the people that he talked to on a regular basis and talk to them for an hour and get, you know, pick their brains about that, that'd be probably pretty cool. And then I think the funniest person I could possibly have on here would have been my grandmother. And it would have took a lot of convincing, but like I said, dude, the amount of people that tell me I swear too much, I was fucking raised by that woman. She was way worse than me. So it would have been hilarious to try to get through an episode of us two without shutting it off because of the nonstop swearing. Oh, these were fun. Like I said, I really enjoy doing these. I know there's a little bit of silence after that fucking Epsoki question. He threw me I never expect. So I used to do this on Dangerously Average Dudes. And usually I would get them from the same person every week. Well, I'd get them from a few people, but I know I was getting some from the same person. And he would ask the most outrageous shit in the world. I wonder if I could find some of his old questions and just, let me see. So we used to do a segment called Ask the Dads, Dangerously Average Dudes. And he would ask me the most absurd shit. So let me just see if I can find some of his questions. And I'll just answer them here for fun. And you guys could do the fucking, you guys could see the types of questions I used to deal with. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Give me 1 second. This is the part that's going to be boring because I'm just reading. While there's silence, if you guys would please, this is the worst time to ask for this. Hey, while it's fucking absolutely boring and you guys are about to click off, if you could please just like, rate, subscribe wherever you're listening, share the podcast. I've hit my hand twice on that, and I know that's an annoying noise because I do it all the fucking time, and I apologize. So, like, rate, share, subscribe. We're trying to get the subscriptions up on Spotify. YouTube's going up pretty steadily, and I appreciate that. And it's weird to me that you would rather look at me than hear me, but I appreciate it. If you are enjoying the podcast, definitely like, rate, share, subscribe. ChewinTheRag.com for merch. W.GG. Promo code Chewin at checkout for 10% off all your orders. And here we go. So, Dan once asked me what I think would be the best candy to shove up my hoo-ha, you know, my boy hoo-ha, my bussy, and the worst candy to shove up my hoo-ha, my anus. the bung, you know? And I answered this before, and I definitely said, I think if I was doing this because I was forced to and not for pleasure, I think the best candy would be one singular nerd, because it's not going to hurt. It's just going to go right up, no problem. And you're probably not going to do much damage. It'll come right out. If you were doing this for pleasure, and it wasn't because you were forced, and you want a little bit of ribbage and pull, my wife corrected me. She said, wouldn't it be a ring pop? Obviously, it's literally the shape of a fucking butt plug, you know? So I definitely think that's up there. That was a really, it wasn't a correction. It was a suggestion by her. And that was a really good one. I said Snickers for the for the dick vein, which was just a throwaway joke, but I actually think a nerd's rope would be great. They're long, they're ribbed. You can go up as far as you want or as low as you want, and you just kind of pull it out, you know? It's like really small ribbed beads the whole time. So that was definitely one. What did another? I think a user said, a listener said, a push pop. You could just kind of push it out, let it go, pull it in, preserve it. Worst is definitely Jawbreaker. I don't think there's going to be one that tops that. Maybe like one of those, like a Hot Balls, because if you have to get that burn sensation. If they have like a cinnamon Jawbreaker, that's the only thing that'll top a regular Jawbreaker, because you need a little bit of, you're going to get some cuts and damages, and it's going to be hot. So there's that. But yeah, those are the questions. So Chewing the Rag, I get all these tame questions. I would get questions like that constantly. And I always said, I'll answer just about anything. The point of these podcasts, both were to be, for me at least, comedy. So if you want to ask me outrageous shit, I'll answer it. I don't know if the Chewing the Rag listeners are going to be on board. So sometimes if I'll preface it. Hey, skip ahead 15 seconds. I'm about to talk about sticking a toothbrush up my pee hole because somebody asked me about it. I'll preface that for you. But if you're into that and you think it's funny, there's that too. Just know it'll probably, somebody might be like, what did you love most about your grandmother? And then I'll answer that, and it'll be heartfelt and sincere. And what do you love most about being a father? I'll answer that. It'll be heartfelt. It'll be sincere. And then it'll be, do you think a vibrating toothbrush or a standard toothbrush would hurt more going up the pee hole? And guess what? I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to be motherfucking sincere, because that's what I do. And I also think standard hurts less, because, you know, the toothbrush is going to rotate. It's going to get every fucking thing. That's just a standard, and that's what it is. Before we go, I want to touch on something that I found interesting last night or 2 nights ago, one or the other. I was on Absoki's stream. And we were talking about being like introverted, but doing this. And I was like, yeah, it's literally, because he was talking about, he's like, I'm really not much of an extroverted person. I stream every night and I talk to people, and you hit me in front of a camera and a video game and you ask me questions, I'll answer just about anything. That's literally how I am. But like, you could ask the people in my everyday life, I am not somebody who, I don't even like the whole, like, how was your day? Or how are you? If you're walking by somebody, it's like, how are you? I say, what's up? I don't say, hey, good, you? Because like, that person walking by, his how are you isn't actually a how are you. That's just like his formality. So to be formal, I'm going to do that the way you should. I'm going to be like, hey, what's up, man? Like that. Because that's all he was doing, or she was doing, they were doing, just not by asking that. They don't actually give a fuck how I am. So like, I'm very not, I don't do small talk really. Oh, sorry. I don't do small talk well. I don't really like public speaking, but I can tell jokes in front of a crowd, no problem. Yeah, like I said, we were just talking about that. It was really interesting to hear his perspective as somebody who streams video games for hours at a time. And I'm somebody who does this for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour plus. And I kind of like, for him to come out and say that, I was like, I'm the same way. And a lot of people don't understand that. When I tell them that, they're like, what do you mean you don't like public speaking? You've done comedy. I'm like, well, that's different. I'm not giving a presentation. I'm going up there and I'm trying to make people laugh, which I'm comfortable doing. And I'm like, I don't really like going to social events or anything. And they're like, well, but you don't shut the fuck up ever. You talk, you know, you're blabbing, you're ball busting, you're telling jokes, you're streaming, you're on a podcast. Like, how can you not like people? It's like, I don't really like people. I just don't really like crowds at the same time. Like, I enjoy, you have a better chance of saying, hey, do you want to come over? I'm having like a handful of friends over and we're just bullshitting, then you do like, hey, do you want to go to, and I know this is stuff that I kind of touched on before, joking about parking, but like my buddy wanted me to go to MSG for the John Jones fight. And I'm like, no, dude, do you not know me at all? I'd be more willing to come to your house and sit on your fucking couch and watch that rather than go to fucking New York City, watch the fight through the cage. You don't really get the greatest view. He's never been to a live fight, I'm assuming, because really it depends on where you are, but you get to see on TV. He doesn't understand that. And he's like, well, it's such a historical fight. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's why I want to watch it on a fucking 70-inch TV where I can see everything in HD. I'm not watching it through a cage. I'm not watching it my fucking neck looking up at the screen hanging over. It's a pain in the ass to watch fights live like that, because especially one like it's really big in the moment. If it's a smaller card, maybe, but like it's MSG, it's John Jones, it's gonna be fucking packed, it's gonna be annoying. Everything about it, none of that sounds fun to me. And he's like, you love MMA? I'm like, I do love MMA. He's like, you like John Jones? I do like John Jones. I'm trying to do it in the most comfortable way possible. You might not understand that, but go to that fight and you let me know how it was. Maybe he loves it. I don't love going to fights like that live. But another thing is like, you can get me to go play flag football. We're doing that this weekend. Should be a fun time. You have a better chance of me doing that than going to like a bar with you. I don't know. I'm a professional extrovert and like personal introvert. I don't want to, I could be extroverted here. It's just me, a fucking camera. Maybe it's a guest. We're bullshitting. That's fine. You want me to talk? Put a microphone in front of my face and say you have to. That's the best way to do it. You asked me how my day was. I'm always going to tell you it was fine. I don't bring like the burden of work at home with me because it's a fucking waste of time. Like it's always going to be fine because there's not really much that goes on throughout the day that's going to fucking make it anything below fine. Fine is like, I'm chilling. I'm good. I'm average. Fucking good to go. I get home. Everything's good. The shift for my day doesn't matter because it's work. Who gives a fuck? But I don't like if I'm meeting new people, I don't want to engage first in any conversation. You know, if I'm with a buddy and somebody he knows comes over and they're shooting the shit, I'm going to wait for him. I'm not going to be like, hey, what's up, man? My name's Chris. Like, I'm going to wait for that guy to be like, hey, what's up, man? My name's Tony. Hey, Tony. You know, or I'm going to wait for my buddy to be like, hey, this is Chris, Tony. But that whole thing, I'm not walking around your house party introducing myself. When I started my job, I was super quiet. Now it's like I'll make jokes about like jerking my fucking coworkers. Like, I don't care. You have to get me past that like 2 weeks of he's the quiet kid, he's a new guy. And then as you start to talk to me, you're like, this kid's fucked up. And then you see a YouTube video of me telling stand up, you're like, this kid does stand up. And then it gradually goes to like, okay, I can be myself. But you're not going to get this extroverted personality that people might think I have because of this, because of streaming, because of comedy or music, whatever it was or might be. You're not going to get that. So I just wanted to touch on that since Epsoki A sent me a question and B is a streamer and shit like that we were talking about. So what the fuck is happening? Oh, that's something else. All right. Well, that's all I got. We're about 45 minutes in. Pretty good for solos. I usually don't get close to an hour with those. Are usually about 30 minutes or less. Appreciate you guys dealing with my silence, my rambling. Anybody who sent in questions, I appreciate you guys. Anybody who will be sending in questions, the best way to do it's definitely the Gmail, I think. I have a Discord. Can I just how do I advertise that shit? I'm so bad with Discord. I should really do better with using mine. Let me just see. CTR pod. You know what I'll do? In the description, wherever you're listening or watching this, I'm going to go right to I'm going to put the Discord right in there. So check that out. Ask me questions on there if you want. I'll try to do better with like announcing stuff in there as well. It's not really big right now, so it's kind of pointless for me to do that. But as we grow it, I'll try to do that. So link in the description for that. I'll throw it on the website, ChewinTheRag.com as well, if that's easier, where you can get everything. And I'll see you guys next week. This was pretty fun. I think it's a little bit more chill than a couple of my more recent episodes where I'm just complaining about everything. So appreciate you guys.